All right then, glad to have you back. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has insisted that it bought petrol from Dangote Refinery at 898 naira per litre. Mr. Olufemi Shoneye, the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the company, disclosed this to newsmen earlier today. The NNPCL Limited restated its position following a denial about Dangote after the NNPC's earlier statement. Mr. Shoneye maintains that the company bought petrol from the refinery at 898 naira per litre. He says market forces now determine domestic pump prices. Now, I attended an executive media parley, and the executive vice president of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mr. Oladapo Segun, over this weekend. He answered some frequently asked questions around the industry. He started by stating directly the implications of the Naira for crude supply policy instituted by the federal government. Mr. Segun says this will not impact pricing in any way.
Directive on sale of crude and products in Naira is, it's a brilliant idea, basically, to help reduce the intensity in the chase of the US dollar. So what happens today, what used to happen before this came into being was the refinery would go out and chase dollars to pay for the crude. And then when we want to buy the refined products from the refinery, we'll also go out and chase dollars in the same market for the refined products. So basically, we are transacting here in Nigeria, but then we're putting pressure on the FX market at different points in time. So what this does basically is to say, okay, for as much, and it's, I must say, it's simply a payment solution. It's just a payment solution. The transactions are still in US dollars. Crude sales has always been US dollars, and it's still in US dollars. Product sales in bulk product sales is also in US dollars, because if the crude, which is from which the refined products are derived, is sold in dollars, the refinery would need dollars to pay for the crude. So the refineries typically also sell the products in dollars. But what this does is to create a payment solution that takes out that need to go out to the market and chase dollars. Refinery going out in the market and chasing dollars to buy crude. Marketers going out in the market and chasing dollars to buy products. So it will create a situation where there's some less volatility in that space, all things being equal. So I said it's a payment solution. What do I mean a payment solution? The transactions are still going to be in the natural currency, US dollars. But payment now will be done in Naira. So refinery buys a barrel of crude for $80. It's still $80. When the payment is due, that payment will be converted on that due date to Naira, and it will be paid in Naira. Marketer, which NNPC is one, goes to refinery, buys products in bulk in dollars. When that payment is due, instead of NNPC going to chase dollars in the market, NNPC pays for that product in Naira. So that's what it is. It's a simple payment solution, no more, no less. And I must say also, today NNPC is the sole provider of PMS to the markets, and we understand why that is so. NNPC is the sole provider, not because NNPC wants to be, but because all the marketers are not playing in that space for reasons that we understand. One, paucity of US dollars, and the volatility that was experienced in the foreign exchange rates. So these marketers always want to make profits. They're not set up to make losses. where they cannot predict, they don't want to play. If, for example, you buy products you want to sell and the currency moves against you, the exchange rate moves against you, a loss crystallizes immediately. So when the exchange rate moved, and sometime last year, after the new government came in, it became obvious immediately that there was no provision for subsidy for the second half of the year.
On the alleged role of NNPC in price fixing, Mr. Shegun explained that the National Oil Company is not a regulator in the market. He added that with the enactment of the PIA, the company operates as an entire business entity.
NNPC is a business entity. So let's imagine with a company like Total, Shell, 11 PLC, NIPCO, can we say that they are the ones to fix the price of PMS? Absolutely no. Same thing applies to NNPC. NNPC is just like any of all those other companies. The only difference being that the shares of NNPC are entirely owned by organs of government, Ministry of Finance Incorporated and Ministry of Petroleum Incorporated. That's the only thing. They are shareholders of NNPC. So NNPC is not a regulator. NNPC has no regulatory powers. And that's why it's important that, that the citizens and also the press study the PIA to understand that things have changed. I've seen there's so much misinformation out there, even within government settings, understanding the new NNPC. And so it's something we also have been trying to do to educate the public so that everyone understands that it's a different NNPC. NNPC is no longer has quasi-regulatory powers. So NNPC cannot set prices. NNPC is not in the place to set prices. And when you have deregulated markets, government does not set prices in a deregulated market. It's only when you have a regulated market that government set prices. So in this case, it is totally false. It's falsehood. Any talk around government or NNPC setting the price. Actually, what we've done in this specific case with Dangote refineries is we went into the room and we negotiated like every other business would do. Dangote comes into the room, I want this much for my petrol. And we say, no, we're paying this this amount, and we have to negotiate to come to some agreement, and that is what has happened. So it's neither, we can't say it's Dangote that sets the price, we can say NNPC sets the price, definitely government is not involved. It's basically the market forces that set the price. So Dangote says to us, this is how much I want for it, and we say, hey, Dangote, if we go out there, we can get it for this much. So we won't pay you this much for it. And we go into the negotiation. And that negotiation, it took us over a week to complete that negotiation. They'll come with their position, we'll come with a counter, they come with a revised position, we'll counter it. And at the end of the day, we were able to reach an agreement on the price to pay for it. Prices of petroleum products and crude are indexed. They're indexed to the Brent. So if the Brent moves up, the price moves up. If the Brent moves down, the price moves down. So you can't quote something and say this is the price. The Brent moves on a daily basis. So as the Brent moves, the price moves. But what you do is say, okay, I'm going to pay you Brent plus 10. Or Brent minus 5. So that is what we agreed. That was the negotiation. What is the premium or the discount we're going to pay on Brent? So that was the negotiation. We don't determine Brent. They don't determine Brent. The market determines what Brent is. But the premium or the discount we're going to pay on Brent is what we negotiated and agreed to. So if I tell you today, If Brent, for example, is 650 today, and we just hypothetical, which is not the true case, we agreed a premium of $20. That makes it how much? $670. If tomorrow Brent becomes 680, it becomes 700 because the premium we negotiated will always float. Constant. Yes, it's constant, but it floats on the Brent. So I can't give you a price and say this is the price. For the immediate offtake, I must say that the offtake for September 15th to the end of September will be paying Dangote in dollars. Why is this? The crude that Dangote used in producing the PMS that we'll be taking was paid for in dollars. So it's only fair that we buy the products in dollars. But from the 1st of October, all of the crude supplied to Dangote, I must say not all, crude supplied to Dangote and products taken up by us, that's PMS taken up by NNPCL, and also AGO taken up by locally by other marketers, will be paid for in Naira.
Sure you're getting some answers to your questions. But speaking on how soon major marketers and others can deal or transact in the petrol importing business, the TVC says with time and more enabling environment, more players will get into the market.
Nobody has precluded any marketer from bringing in PMS. When the marketers go to NNPCL to get the permits or license to import, typically they will say X amount, I want to import X amount of AGO, X amount of ATK, and some of them actually include PMS. I want to import X amount of PMS. And NNPCL has been approving that. So, but they then go, they then go to the market, check the market indices, and say to themselves, PMS is still being sold below cost. If I bring it in, I will make a loss. So now they have approval to bring in AGO, ATK, and PMS. What do they end up doing? They're bringing only AGO and ATK. They don't bring in that PMS because the market is still not right for them. So it's not because NNPC wants to be the sole provider or supplier of PMS. It's because the other marketers won't do it until it is profitable. If it's not profitable, they won't do it. Why are they bringing in, like I said again, they get the approval for AGO, ATK, and PMS. They go every time get the approval for all three products, but they only bring in two. AGO, yeah, will make money. ATK will make money. PMS, when they check it and say, hey, we'll lose money, they leave it. So that's what's been happening. And that's the same thing that's happening with Dangote. I said earlier on that the Dangote is a company. It's going to sell at market price. Market price is still higher. The market value of PMS is still higher than what the 766 or 765.99 that NNPC is selling offshore. So there's no way the marketers would bring it in, or there's no way the marketers will also buy from Dangote. So it's basically, the situation is not changed there. So NNPC off-taking is only because the others won't buy at the market price that Dangote will be willing to sell, and which is reasonable. So that's the only reason. As soon as the price allows for it, the price, you'll see other marketers going to go to Dangote and buy. So nobody's precluding them from buying. So instead of saying NNPC is the only off-taker, let's put it this way: NNPC is the only only entity that is willing to offtake, because NNPC has a role under law to be the energy provider of last resort. So this is, like I said, this is something NNPC is compelled to do by law. So that's the situation. It's not out of a desire to keep everybody out of it. And you see that play out in the fact that NNPC is going to supply crude to Dangote and collect Naira for AGO that other marketers are going to buy from Dangote and pay Naira. So because AGO prices are at market, everybody's playing. So as soon as PMS prices are at market, everybody is going to come in and play and buy from Dangote.
Well, I know another question or questions running through viewers' mind is how soon will the Port Harcourt Refinery and other government-owned refineries come on stream? Mr. Oladapo has this to say.
As Nigerians are concerned, is the product out, that means the refinery is working. But yes. Now let's compare like for like. Dangote Refinery achieved mechanical completion in May last year, and that was when the commissioning was done, right? May last year. Dangote Refinery started producing AGO in March, thereabout, April this year. How many months?
About 10 months.
10, 11 months. Thank you very much. Port Harcourt Refinery, a brownfield refinery that we have rehabilitated, not a brand new refinery like Dangote Refinery, achieved mechanical completion in December. And this is September. And we're hoping to start producing middle distillates, the same middle distillates that Dangote Refinery started producing in March, April. We're working towards producing it in September. Have we been inefficient? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Dangote Refinery, mechanical completion in May last year, starting production of PMS in September this year. How many months? 15, 16 months. NNPC Port Harcourt Refinery, mechanical completion in December. This is still 9 months. So Nigerians, I understand where, everyone is coming from, but there's a need to be fair in our expectations. We can set the range of when we think it will happen. There's the optimistic end of that continuum, and there's the pessimistic end of that continuum. But this is a process that has to go through. It's a process. You can't say because I've said I'm going to start producing in December, in January, or in March, or in you have an issue with the process, and you just say no. I'm not going to go through the process of getting things right. I'm just going to jump in and get things going. Again, I say, all of the workers there are also Nigerians. Safety is very important. And that's why I do all I can to keep the people in the plants away from the pressures. Someone is working in an environment that is in excess of 300 degrees, and you're saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Let's be real. The timeline, or the timeline that Port Harcourt Refinery is working on is not inefficient. If we're comparing with the greenfield Dangote Refinery, which started producing middle distillates in about 10 months, 10, 11 months, and is starting to produce PMS in 15, 16 months. So that's basically is the way I'll respond to that.
Well, you've heard from him. That's the Executive Vice President, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited.